Allis-Chalmers built a lot of iconic tractors over the years. One of those was the WC, and then they tried to follow that up with a model called the RC. Sheridan Hansen from Utah, you have a 1939 RC. Tell us a little bit about this tractor.
They apparently did not have a tractor to compete. So they tried to make a smaller tractor out of a bigger tractor. And they put a B Allis-Chalmers engine in a WC tractor frame. And they had to do several modifications to do that. And they tried to make it cheaper than a WC. Of course, a WC was a 200 cubic inch engine. That little B engine's only 126 cubic inches. So you reduce the horsepower a lot on that tractor. And as far as being a great tractor, I'm sure it was not. But it was good for a mower. It had a mower on it when I acquired it, by the way. And it would have been good for cultivation. And maybe for odd jobs and whatever, but it was not a heavy-duty tractor, and obviously was not very popular because they made it for 2 years. In late 38 and nearly all of them in 39, a total of about 5,000.
So that makes it really pretty highly desirable for collectors these days to get an RC.
It is a collector, and that's why I have one. Frankly, I would not have restored that if it hadn't been an RC, and we came across it. I don't know of another one in Utah. And I noticed here at the show there might be two others. One is restored very nicely. It's really not in the main show, but the other one is a little bit shabby. But so there are a few of them around. But this one has been very good for me because at my age I can get on it easy. It's low. It's quite light to haul. And we brought it a long ways to get here.
And you enjoy driving it. Tell us what that experience is like.
And I enjoy driving it. I've done a caravan at home with tractors for 15 years since I first went to Canada. 100 miles a day for 3 days and got into the caravan business, and so I do them at home. And so I'm in lots of parades, and I think what it's to do is really is patriotism. Yeah. We always fly an American flag. Out of all those tractors, the reason he wanted me, I happen to know he happened to know the right person too. But he need somebody with a flag. I was about the only one in that string of tractors with flag.
So Sheridan, there were some things that Allis did to sort of make the RC a little less expensive. Tell us about some of those.
One of them, it has no water temperature gauge, and WCs, everything, all had a water gauge in the top of this one does not. It did not have a starter. Instead of that, there was a plate in front of it. But it's interesting that they put the ring gear on the flywheel so you could add a starter. That was an option that you could buy. And interesting, they pinstriped the wheels, which I thought to try and cut cost. You'd think that'd be a little cost, but it was for me.
So the pinstriping on the wheels, that's actually correct for the era?
Correct. That is correct. I had some of the original, well, I had the original wheels, and they could still see the pinstriping. So that is completely original.
And then that steering wheel on the RC is just a little unique, isn't it?
It's a 15 inch. And on the WC is a 16 inch. And today you can't buy a 15 inch steering wheel. But when we went and picked this tractor up, like it had an old Dodge steering wheel on it, and hanging on the wall with a tag still on it was that steering wheel, a 15 inch replacement wheel that Allis-Chalmers was obviously selling at that time to replace that faulty steering wheel. So that's a little bit unique on here. There's not many other people that have one of those, and a little thing, but it was a minor change they made that's hard to figure out what the reason was.
Yeah, so your tractor is correct in that way as far as the steering wheel goes, and then I noticed the oil filter as well.
The oil filter on it is an original can type. It's not an Allis, it is a Fram, but it is a period oil filter. That means it was made just like a tin can stuffed with like string and felt that the oil goes through. And my son was able to get one of them on eBay, or I don't know how you do all that, but he acquired one, and so that is quite a rare item itself, just the oil filter that's on there.
Do you enjoy that whole restoration process, finding the right pieces and parts and getting it back together, getting it painted up, looking good?
That's part of the fun of it and the challenge of it. You start with something that won't run, that won't do anything, and when you get done with it, as I said before, on the last time I talked to you on a tractor, it runs. And that is a great feeling when you see it. You did something, you made it run. I don't know what a better word than that.
Yeah, bringing the past back to life, right?
That's right, you bring the pack, you bet.
This being a 1939 tractor, you're just a little bit older than that. Do you sort of remember seeing Allis-Chalmers tractors, at least out in the field where you grew up in Utah?
Where I grew up in Utah, the only tractor we had was a 1936 Allis-Chalmers WC. And as a boy, I thought it was the biggest tractor in the world. The neighbor had Fords, and I thought they were such little tractors. And I just always liked that tractor. And our farm was really two grandpa and uncle and dad trying to make a living on a little 30 cow dairy farm and a little dry farm. And they bought that WC tractor in 1936 and a combine and a plow. And they could farm that dry farm ground. And during the war, wheat was a good price. They made a little money and finally got out of debt.
And now all these years later, you get to kind of carry on the family tradition of having orange Allis-Chalmers tractors and kind of passing that information on to the next generation.
I hope so. I certainly have passed it on to Utah, frankly, and certainly to Cedar City. They call me the tractor man.
So Utah, southwestern part of the state near Zion National Park is where you came from. What is it that makes you want to bring an RC like this tractor all the way from Utah to Minnesota?
The tractor was part of it because it's a fairly rare tractor, and this is the Allis-Chalmers cream of the crop show, if you want to show a tractor. But in reality, there's a cream of crop people as well. I've done these several caravans, and I came to see people. I come to see them. And brought the tractor as an incidental thing with us. It made it available for us to do that. So I think these events, these tractor events, or whatever they are, the importance of it is the people that we associate with, we come acquainted with.
All right, Sheridan, thanks for sharing the story of your RC and for coming all the way from Utah to the Orange Spectacular.
It's my pleasure. As you know, I've been on the show before, and I appreciate being on it again. You've been a great host.
We ought to do it about every 10 years, don't you think?
You think we might? At this point, I'm only 86.
All right, we'll see you in another 10 at least, maybe sooner though.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, Sheridan Hansen, he's leading the charge in southern Utah for Allis-Chalmers tractors, and everywhere he goes with a tractor, they proudly fly the Utah state flag and the American flag. Hey, thanks for catching Classic Tractor Fever. If you'd like to see more Allis Orange features, be sure to check out these other classic stories. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep those classic tractor stories rolling.